Hello guys, it's been a pretty long while since I've made a video. I think it's been about 9 months, but today I'm going to be doing an AFL Evolution 2 wishlist video. Basically, there's just a few things here. These are minor, nothing too much about the gameplay or anything, but just a few little tweaks that I think could go a long way in improving the game and just making it a bit more interesting and realistic to AFL. So the first one is the commentary. Now we know we've got Anthony Hudson and Gary Lyon commentating on this game. I think it's a debut for both of them. Dennis Cometti is now obviously also retiring from AFL video games as well as actual AFL. So it'll be sad to see him go, but at the same time, I think the game does need a fresh new look, as well as Matthew Richardson, who was just absolute garbage in my opinion on AFL Evolution 1. And I do like both these guys as commentators. I think Hutto has the potential to be a really exciting commentator to listen to. Hopefully we get a few of his big calls. I did hear that he is going to have a few of those huge famous calls in the game like I see it, but I don't believe it, sort of thing. So if they're implemented at the right time of the game or in the right games, it will be pretty cool. And Gary Lyon, I think he's a good support commentator, but don't expect a whole heap from him. Moving on, it's a couple of things about the Guernseys, sort of relative to the grand final. So I'd like to see the Premiers have the Premiership badge on their Guernsey the following year, and I think at the same time, like in 2020, if in my career mode Richmond win the flag, I don't want to see West Coast having that golden badge again and Richmond not having it. I don't think it would take much effort to put that into the game. I think that's something that they should do. Hopefully they do that. I know FIFA just this year started doing that, like putting the badges in if you go up or down, or if you're playing in a cup or the league. So it would be pretty cool to see it in AFL Evolution 2. Another thing with the Guernseys is just on Grand Final Day having the little Grand Final logo. Again, not a huge deal, but just sort of adds to the realism of it being a Grand Final. They've already gone to lengths with things like the logo on the 50-metre marks, and it would be cool to have that second little thing. The next thing is another overlay type of graphics thing. It's just a scoreboard. Now, for as long as I can remember on AFL games, actually, we've had it tucked away in the top left corner as a little square, which is something that we used to have on Channel 10. I think Channel 7 had it bottom left, those little squares. But around the turn of the decade, they were ditched for the new sort of longer scoreboards that we see now on Channel 7 and on Fox Footy. They've already taken some things from Fox and 7 in terms of the pre-game overlay and stuff like that. So it would be cool to just see a little bit extra taken from there, because I'm kind of sick of the small scoreboard. Maybe have the team's logos on there, or have the colours like Fox Footy do. Something like that would just make it look a little bit nicer. Moving on from that, the next problem I have is the umpiring. Mainly holding the ball, throwing the ball decisions were a big issue in AFL Evolution 1. I don't think they've ever been quite right in an AFL game. They're not even really always right in the AFL. So just a tough one to maybe nail, but I think it's something they hopefully have looked at quite a bit and try to get the right balance between prior opportunity and things like in the back too sometimes gets unnecessarily paid or doesn't get paid when it should be. So I hope there's been a big focus on that, because sometimes, especially in career mode and stuff, it can feel almost like they're working against you a little bit, and it can be a little bit unfair. And the next thing is Grand Final Day celebrations. Now in AFL Evolution 1, sure, the players that win are excited, the players that lose are not very happy, but it's kind of just similar to the cutscenes that happen during a regular season game, which isn't that exciting. I want to see my players jumping up and down. I want to see the opposition players sitting down, head in their hand sort of thing, and maybe being consoled by an opposition player or something like that. Also, the trophy presentation, we don't even have the platform thing that the players go up on. We just get that sort of one photo of them all on the grass. It's been in the AFL games for years. When the siren sounds too, we get a bunch of streamers falling from the sky. Not really how it works in the AFL. Obviously, they all come down when the trophy's being presented. I think it would be cool to have a cutscene like in the thumbnail, like put Bonson Pally going on the fence of the MCG and being surrounded by the supporters. They do that every year. In the AFL, there's always a player up there with the cup. FIFA, a game like FIFA, I've compared it to that a few times. It's just they do have some very good cutscenes. They have the team running up to the fans and throwing the Champions League trophy up in the air and things like that. which would be very cool to have something similar like that after you've won the grand final in AFL Evolution, because it feels like it just goes a little bit too quickly in my opinion. So hopefully they've worked on those as well. And the final thing, it's not a big deal, but just, you know, we've seen in the screenshots that they released last week that they put some pretty good attention to detail on the outsides of the stadiums. In AFL Evolution 1, I managed to get out of a couple of the grounds, and I used to have videos on those. I think I went to Adelaide Oval and GMHBA Stadium, and you can see that they've put cities and trees and car parks, stuff like that, with actual cars. I remember GMHBA Stadium had another oval to the left of it there, and it's just weird that they don't want to show those sort of things off, because, I mean, why else would they put them there? So I think that hopefully in AFL Evolution 2, we just see a little bit more of those outsides of the stadiums. If it's pre-game, you know, we might see a panning shot or a bird's eye sort of shot of the ground, because the roofs look really good. Like the one of Optus Stadium was just absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to put them in here, but it's on the AFL Evolution Facebook page and stuff like that, so you can go have a look. Yeah, I just think that would, again, be good. We're just trying to have the most realistic football game possible while having it also be fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Obviously, we want something like an Ultimate Team mode, like to have online mode be a little bit more stable, but those are just given. So I thought this is more of a specific list of things that I'd like to see changed in AFL Evolution 2 that are pretty, you know, quick fix sort of things. Yeah, hopefully the game's not too far away. It was expected to come out in Q2 of 2019, so last couple of years, you know, had May release, and then for the season pack last year was another May, I'm pretty sure. So hopefully it's around then, June at the latest, because you don't want it coming out too late into the footy season. Ideally, we'd have it out this week or something, but that's just not the case. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this one. It's good to be back, I suppose, and I will catch all of you guys next time.